But there's three ongoing stories that I've merged into one because it's all the same program, and people have to see it for what it is and get on top of it before it escalates out of control. As AOC, paid actor, agency operated clown, this week was wailing into an empty car park in a media style staged event that yet again has backfired. The reverse psychology program of Oh the Poor Migrants is again all designed to make the American people feel guilty and in some way privileged. Won't be the last time you hear that word in this piece. That word has raised its head again. White privilege. Can you see the pattern yet? What about the poor immigrants when Obama was in charge? Where was that investigation? Or how about the investigating the poor Irish, the poor British and the poor Eastern European treatment got in Ellis Island? Where's the investigation of that? Of course, the media, listen closely because I'm going to repeat it, the media want to conveniently forget that, and it's only the black people and the Hispanics that are treated badly in immigration. Newsflash, all people have been treated badly entering another country, not just America either. Let's not forget that. Although media will discount that, and alt media refuses to cover it. I want all people to be looked after well, regardless of colour, and I want to make that clear to those unable to use their own thinking patterns. I have black, I have Hispanic and Jewish friends in my wider circle. But this has been used as a program to create division, not highlight the certain plights of people that none of us can prove. Quote, "They are being made to drink out of toilets," is one quote. Now that's horrifying if that is the case, but no one, unless you were there, can prove that that is the case of what's going on. From either side of the debate, it is an assumption to us all, and yet they are pushing a narrative designed to cause doubts or upset. In this case, it goes to the top and reinforcing that Trump is a Nazi. That's what's going on. Which then leads us to Antifa, an anti-Nazi group, we are told, replete with anti-German, anti-white and anti-supremacist overtones. But these people are stupid and essentially paid actors playing a role, because Nazi is not German, Nazi is not white supremacist either, and Nazi is not pro-white either. Nazism in Germany was the second stage, because the Nazis first ransacked Russia under the banner of the Bolshevik Revolution, all done by the Israelite people. And whilst they are labelled as Jewish under the modern term, they are not Jewish at all. This is not a religious war. They're using the religion and their peoples to cover up a political and genocidal ideology. Antifa people, if genuine, need an our story lesson, not his story. I understand if they're fighting for a cause that is being pushed by academia, media and historians throughout their lives, but they have to understand and learn that people are not the problem. It is a clever plotted scheme that has gone on for thousands of years, but when you look below the surface, a completely different picture emerges. Lenin and Marx were Israelites. Who funded Antifa? George Soros, another Israelite. Who runs New York and all of its establishments, including the media and banking? Israelites. The Rothschilds family are Israelites, who famously refused to take all the Jewish people out of the concentration camps into a safe zone. Rothschilds refused, as did Menachem Begin, another Israelite, in a previous attempt to the Rothschilds to remove the Jewish people from the camps, which was organised by none other than Hitler himself. Oops. Based on their story, does that make any sense? Hitler saving the Jews. But of course it was Hitler who threw out of Germany the Rothschilds' banks, who destroyed their economy. That's what started it. The Rothschilds, again. History repeats unless you deal with the problem. Now, I'm not asking people to believe me here. I'm asking you all to go and research it for yourself. It's all there. Although a word of caution, as the GoOgle search engine is being called more and more each day. I noticed some of you have started to see it more. It's been going on for a number of months now. And then the third story, the black reparation debate rages on. All three happening at the same time are not a coincidence. And I've made my stance very clear on that. If the black people want compensation for the alleged slavery, your real source of claiming reparation is the country of Africa and also the Israelite cult linked with the Rothschilds banking system, not the American people. Your descendants were used and lied to like everybody else. Then you throw in the fake DNA experts, 123andMe and Ancestry.com, and add in Darwinism and eugenics, and you may find your ancestry came not from Africa, but were indigenous to here. Oops. So why have I wrapped in these three pieces together? Because they all have a common theme running through them is why, and all three are interconnected in two ways. First, they are creating racial division to generate enough public reaction and anger to kickstart wars on the street. That's their latest plan. And secondly, and this is a key to understanding all of the last 100 years or so, but actually goes back over 100,000 years. The migrants is being blamed on the whites, and the Democrats have labelled Trump a Nazi, ignoring the fact that the KKK was the paramilitary division of the Democratic Party from its inception, all orchestrated and played out by the Israelite media. The black community, who have been fed their whole lives about slavery and the white role in it, when in my series showed it was the Israelites again who collected them and sold them off. But it was the Africans themselves who rounded up their own people and sold them off. Go and check out the East African slave trade. It was going on thousands of years ago. That's where some of the labour work in Egypt came from. Now, white people have problems in their midst, the same as every other colour. But if you want an example of what happens when all the whites go, Look what happened in South Africa and Zimbabwe. You see, white per se were not the problem. It is the hidden string puppet masters that ruin and destroy. Now the whites left, some alive, but many were murdered, and the economies, food industry and other industries collapsed, and suddenly no one had any work or income. Don't believe me? Go and ask some of the people in South Africa. In fact, I've heard many black South Africans now say they were better off under apartheid. They now know the whites they threw out were not the issue. That's the key. But the hidden hand again, of which Mandela was a part of it. Black Lives Matter, like I said, who funded that? Israelite George Soros again. Pushing a program where the blacks scream white privilege, and in comparison, I can see that to a point, but it's all an illusion once you scratch the surface. And then Antifa playing out that all whites are fascist and German role models from the World War II, when the whites lost more of their population during that war than any other colour. And the same happened in World War I as well. It was a complete genocide. 3 stories, 3 narratives, denigrating the whites, not below the surface anymore, but right in your face. And these Israelite clowns, who run practically all of society now, are hell-bent on eliminating one race of people. They've been doing it for thousands of years and running counter-operation programs like I have listed, and then they get the people themselves to enforce it for them. It's the classic 3-pronged attack they've used over and over and over again. The problem which they create, and they have the solution lined up. When the public go into the next stage, which is reaction, and once the public react to the generated situation and start to demand things, they have no idea of what they are demanding. The solution is rolled out. They used it to take over Russia. They used it to take over Germany. They used it to create the state known as Israel, which they run as an operational base and care not for the Jewish people, not one iota. And their final use of it is to create war in the Fourth Reich for the full takeover of America and a removal of whites in this country. That's what they're planning. These 3 stories are to create one thing, which will be in the song. If that happens, all colours will suffer far more than you ever realised. War on the streets equals martial law. In comes the curfews, in comes hand over your guns, in comes the Israelite Gestapo, and life as we know it will cease to exist. Whilst I'm not in favour of guns, recognise it is the volume of people in this country who have guns that have kept us all alive to date. You see, fear works both ways, as they're terrified of us. Otherwise they would have marched right through this country like they did when all the other countries who gave up their guns. But not this one. And I'm appealing to the black and Hispanic and Jewish people to fight the common enemy. It's not the white man. It's not the black. It's not the yellow. It's not the brown or the red. It's this Israelite cult that is pushing everything. We'll be back shortly.